We got to start holding Jake Paul accountable for that. Not because he can't fight, because we know he can. Do you understand?
Yeah, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best fight. It just wasn't the best thing to watch, was it? Like it was just, yeah, it weren't great.
Didn't look like he got out of first gear. Jake Paul was just on pure survival mode from round 1 right through to round 6. I don't know if he's got a moral victory going 6 rounds. Maybe he has. People might give him credit for going 6 rounds. But he got in there and just survived. He just went in there and ran like a chicken from round 1 right through to round 6 when he got splattered.
Stephen A. Smith tore into Jake Paul after his knockout defeat to Anthony Joshua, dismissing the idea that lasting 6 rounds as a YouTuber is anything impressive. He emphasized that Jake is no longer just an online content creator. He's now a professional boxer who has spent years training in real camps with experienced coaches. Smith argued that when facing a true elite fighter like Joshua, Jake can't hide behind his YouTube persona.
Boxing trainers for years. He takes the sport very seriously.
Thank you. So let me ask you, that's the question I have, because great kid, great businessman, by the way, amazing. And I know how he does all this, the character and the persona. We keep saying that he doesn't want to be a boxer. He's not a boxer. But then
Jake Paul is a boxer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my point.
Exactly. He's a boxer.
He can fight. I respect it. So go in there against fighters. You should be climbing the ladder towards those other fighters and taking the sport seriously to the point where you're fighting.
Sam Jones didn't hold back in his reaction to Jake Paul's knockout loss to Anthony Joshua. While some fans tried to spin the fight as a valiant effort because Jake survived multiple rounds, Jones rejected that notion entirely. He called the bout painful to watch, not due to violence, but because it looked one-sided and awkward from a boxing perspective. According to him, courage alone doesn't turn a mismatch into a quality fight. While Jake showed bravery by stepping into the ring, Jones argued that without true competitiveness, it doesn't make for an entertaining contest. He criticized the fight for lacking rhythm, meaningful exchanges, and real moments of danger for Joshua, stripping it of any excitement. Praising Jake simply for lasting, Jones said, lowers the standard of professional boxing. He drew a clear line between surviving and truly competing, noting that running, holding, and avoiding damage may extend a fighter's time in the ring, but doesn't showcase top-level boxing skill. In his view, much of Jake's performance involved defensive movement and avoidance rather than genuine offense.
Joshua knocking out and breaking Jake Paul's jaw. Just talk to me right now about the fight itself, and then we'll break it down.
Bit of a crap fight, if we're all honest. It was like watching Jaws 2 when all the kids went out on their boats and they were in the middle of the sea, and the shark was just surrounding the boat, just like that's what it was like. It was just like a shark circling its prey, and just like it was like nibbling, and eventually got him. But Jake Paul showed big plums in there, no matter what anybody says about him, because I've seen people say, yeah, he went in there to survive. Yeah, okay, he went in there to survive. He's a guy that's been boxing a couple of years against a unified champion of the world who can really punch. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best fight. It just wasn't the best thing to watch, was it? Like it was just, it weren't great. I just want to see now Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua. I think at the stages of their careers they're at, AJ and Tyson Fury, we don't need to see interim fights, Andrew. We don't need to see interim fights because they're just potential banana skins. We want to see two of the best heavyweights of this era going at it, and we need to see it next.
Carl Froch delivered one of the toughest critiques of the night, calling the fight a disgrace and questioning why Jake Paul was being praised at all. He argued that the reaction to bout highlights a troubling trend in boxing, where social media buzz and entertainment often overshadow true skill and achievement. In Froch's view, Jake neither won rounds nor posed any real threat to Joshua, and credit should come from genuine competition, not merely surviving. He criticized the notion that lasting 6 rounds deserve applause when there was no real effort to win. Froch described the fight as a one-sided chase, with Jake focused on offensive survival rather than strategic boxing, forcing Joshua into the role of aggressor. For Froch, professional boxing is about standing your ground, trading meaningful shots, and taking risks to win, not just avoiding damage until the final bell.
Counted out, knocked out, whatever, however you want to call it. It wasn't a bad knockout. It wasn't an El Sparko. He wasn't rendered unconscious, but he got done. He got it on the chin. He went over. He didn't beat the count. He was sort of up on his feet. But if I'm honest, the whole fight was terrible, wasn't it? It was just so bad. It was just shit, wasn't it? A proper bad fight for AJ. And let me start with AJ. AJ was following him around the ring a little bit, sort of pouring with the jab, putting the jab on the shoulder of Jake Paul, sort of putting him in the corner and not really pulling the trigger on the right hand. He didn't seem to be motivated to go in there and just smash Jake Paul into oblivion in the first 1 or 2 rounds, which I think he could have done. But he's been out of the ring 15 months. He's a bit slow on his feet, a bit ring rust maybe, and it's hard. When I used to spar novice amateurs, even when I was a world champion pro, if you're not motivated, sometimes you can have a couple of bad rounds and you're sort of looking at your opponent and a jab hits you or right hand hits you. And I think AJ was in a bit of a daze early on, just walking him around, touching the jab on his shoulder, not really pulling the trigger on the right hand. Didn't look like he got out of first gear. Jake Paul was just on pure survival mode from round 1 right through to round 6. I don't know if he's got a moral victory going 6 rounds. Maybe he has. People might give him credit for going 6 rounds. But he got in there and just survived. He just went in there and ran like a chicken from round 1 right through to round 6 when he got splattered. And it's like, it's just, you can't really justify what he's done, because this is supposed to be a professional sanctioned boxing match, and I think it brings the integrity of the sport down when somebody like AJ, is a 2-time world champion, can't get in there and just completely dismiss somebody like Jake Paul, who I've said for ages can't fight. He's not a professional boxer. It's just AJ following him around, touching him to the shoulder. Round 1 came and went. Round 2 was much of the same, bit slow. I think AJ got caught with an overhand right at one stage, but sometimes when you're out in the rain, you're going to get wet. He was following him around, taking his eye off the ball, probably a bit undermotivated, thinking, what's this guy doing that's in front of me? Jake Paul was just running.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more.